Now let's first get on with our first half of the program. I want to welcome to the stage Sarah Bull with the Civilian. Let's give Sarah a great round of applause.
Can I stand down here? Will it work? Thank you so much. Morning, everybody. I'm Sarah Bull from Columbia, so thank you so much for letting an outsider come in to your group. I'm here this morning to talk to you in part about this statistic on the screen right now. 1 in 6 Americans have stopped talking to a family member or close friend because of the 2016 election. Likely this is affecting one of you with this statistic right now, and so we want to discuss why that's happening. So one reason is we have Russians coming in trying to influence our media and our elections, so that makes it very confusing for us to trust the media. We have pundits talking on the air, yelling at us, trying to bully us sometimes into feeling a certain way or convincing us a certain way. We also have our own leadership fighting each other and not talking to each other in civil ways. And then we have biased media on both sides. We also have Facebook and other social media outlets being infiltrated as well by fake news. And also a lot of us are getting our news from social media now. So it makes us all kind of have this attitude, right? So that's where the Civilian comes in. The Civilian is an email newsletter and a podcast. We talk about politics in a completely nonpartisan, unbiased way. And we also have an emphasis on civility, how to talk to each other, and how to have civil discourse about these important issues that are going on. Our other goal is to educate people. I discovered that while I was reading the news, there were a lot of terms being thrown around, like impeachment, that I didn't really understand the full process of. So I thought maybe there would be a few other people out there that might also forget their high school government class, and we all just needed a little bit of a refresher on what that actually means. I started this kind of casually right after the 2016 election, but I decided to make it really official right before the 2018 midterms. You guys probably remember we had a really confusing midterm ballot in Missouri. We had these really confusing marijuana initiatives. It was really hard to understand how to vote on this. Do you guys agree with that? So I made this little flow chart so people could decide how they wanted to vote, make up their own mind, and not be influenced by any of the lobbies on any of these issues, and also to be educated how to say no to all of them if that's what you wanted to do. I put this up on my own Facebook page, and it went viral. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people in Missouri shared this on Facebook. In fact, I can hardly go anywhere to present anymore where someone did not accidentally stumble across this right before the 2018 election. So when I thought, well, hey, there's a need for this if so many people are sharing it. So I started the Civilian right after the new year in January of 2019. And we covered a lot of different topics so far. We covered the Mueller investigation, which was a really tough one to take on. Again, we want to educate people on what these government processes are. So it's not saying should somebody be impeached or should they not be impeached. It said this is an issue that's in the news right now. Let's understand what it really means. We also want to focus on local government. So I issued this local government challenge right before the municipal elections and just asked people to kind of fill in the blank and get familiar with their own community and help them get out to the polls and be active. So what's working so far? The name really works for me. The Civilian talks about how I am not a journalist. I am not a government official. I'm not a politician. I'm a civilian. Also talks about how I want to focus on being civil discourse. The email is hosted on Substack, which can easily transition to paid subscriptions, and that's what I really want to get to. I don't think that I want to take on advertisers at this point because I don't want to be influenced by any company. The format is the simple infographic that you saw, plus a 700-word or so column that becomes sort of like Cliff's Notes for political issues. Then I have a podcast as well, where that's my format to answer the questions that I get from my readers or kind of further dive into some of the topics. Fact-based, absolutely. I do a ton of research on this. It's non-biased. This has produced a ton of engagement, And I'm seeing that everyone tends to be more civilized when I'm coming from a neutral perspective. I really like the underground feel. My graphics are hand-drawn by me, scanned and published. And I think that that allows my readers to trust me a little bit more. Since we're having so much problems with the media right now, this kind of gives me an underground feel. And then the one thing I hear over and over again is that this is not patronizing, which is my #1 goal. Because again, every issue that I go over starts with a question that I have in my mind and I'm trying to get to the bottom of. So there's really no way for me to be too patronizing. And if I did, it would be hypocritical. My goals for this year, this is a development year. I really want to get all my ducks in a row and work on the format and the writing style so I can be really prepared for the 2020 election year. I would love to have 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, a good social media strategy, and develop more branding, but I really want to keep that underground feel. And then I'd love to go around like this and have as many speaking opportunities as I can. Goals, I'd love to add paid subscriptions next year, animated videos, interviews, and again, just build that trust and build those speaking opportunities. So here are my current stats. I publish every other week a newsletter, unless there's something really critical that pops up. But my podcast is every week. I have 11 issues so far, 8 podcast episodes, and about 500 subscribers. And my open rate stays at about 40%, which I'm really happy with. What I would love your feedback on are these issues. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say, and thank you so much for having me. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
I'm curious. What is Substack?
Substack is a brand new email marketing service, and their focus is to get you to paid subscriptions. It's brand new. It's kind of breaking ground and getting in those inboxes because Gmail and all these have become so smart to MailChimp and others. Yes.
Plans on cost for subscription whenever you decide to introduce this?
I'm sorry. I'm not really sure. I would love your feedback on that. I was thinking, starting at $3 or $5 a month, something like that, and have like a Patreon type model where you get a bonus if you're a subscriber.
Did you model this after something similar somewhere else in the country?
Not that I saw. There may be something that exists out there, but this was new to me. And I really focus on that infographic, which I think makes me unique from some of the other, like the skim, if you're familiar with that. This is a little bit different and a little bit briefer.
So how are you getting any income right now?
None.
How are you?
I'm not making money on it right now.
Got your own full-time job then, or?
Yes, I'm from the visual arts industry. So I've been in the wedding industry for the past 10 years. And then I moved to Columbia 2 years ago and just kind of stopped at that point and started new projects, but I don't make any money on it right now. So would like to get that going.
Do you ever take a position on anything?
I don't. I try to stay completely neutral, and I try not to let any of my own personal opinions show up anywhere, on Twitter, anything like that. I don't want to have any kind of platform.
So who do you have reading your materials to kind of keep that bias out of it? Because that's hard to creep in, even if you're trying not to.
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. I have a conservative, a liberal, and a libertarian or another third-party person edit all or read through all of my columns before I send it out and let me know if they see anything. And usually they will pick one or two things that are just kind of like, they'll say, I know this is really nitpicky, but you could phrase this in another way. So it's really important for me to have those people backing me up.
So are you making that information public to your readers?
Yes, I do. And there's a few topics, like the educational topics, that I don't need them to really, because it's not partisan at all. And so in every issue that I do have them, which is most of them, like 80%, I put a little blurb on there and say, this has been reviewed by a liberal, a conservative, and a third party to make sure that I don't have any bias.
Can you talk about your background?
Yes.
And kind of how you came to this? I mean, obviously you said the visual media, but.
Absolutely. So I've been interested in politics my entire life. I've been like a junkie my entire life. But I don't have any formal political background. I lived in Washington, D.C. with my husband for 5 years. And so we were really in that environment. He is in the political arena. But I'm just like really into it. I volunteered for a ton of campaigns and was just really involved in that. And then, like I said, I came from visual arts, so I think that that kind of helps me with my flow charts and making things easy for people to understand.
Just an idea for your paid subscription.
Yes.
It would be no surprise to anybody in this room that I subscribe to the New York Times cooking newsletter. And anyway, their promotion was instead of paying them $1.25 a week, you could subscribe for the full year for $40.
I saw that. That's a great idea. Thank you.
And there's a couple of the New Yorker kind of works that way too.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but that's great.
I know that you had said that you weren't necessarily open to advertising right now. I drive quite a bit, so I listen to a lot of news radio. But there's actually a station on Sirius XM that's called POTUS. It's People of the United States.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of non-biased political talk. And so I'd be curious what kind of advertisers they're using on that, and maybe that would somehow be a benefit to you. So maybe that's something worth looking into.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
That just triggers, if you have a business owner who has the same mindset, is a follower of yours, and wants to be able to get in front of people that don't necessarily want to align with a politically charged company owner or whatever. I mean, that our society and our culture right now is like, I'm going to boycott them because they have different, I'm going to make sure I shop there because they have my same beliefs, which is only contributing to your opening, versus I'm going to contribute here and get in front of these folks that are obviously wanting to learn, because then I know that the folks that I'm going to have as client leads are going to be kind of in that same mindset.
Oh, I like that.
So if you can say like, hey, my same standards for myself apply for anyone that I do advertising with. If you see a company that has sponsored a segment or whatever, however you grow this, you can know that that company also is dedicated to being a civilian company. Or
That I really like that. I really like that.
And then you get to not limit yourself on, I'm so underground that I can't pay my bills with this, but I'm in the world authentically without kind of, I took their money because, do you know what I mean?
That's a great point. Thank you. And I'm glad to hear that you guys wouldn't be put off by certain advertisers.
You considered YouTube?
Yeah, I would love to get videos on YouTube. Someone suggested Reddit before, which Reddit scares me because it's so unfamiliar to me, but that was been a big suggestion for me to get on Reddit. So I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Well, you're already on Twitter, so you could just jump on a Periscope, which I mean links to them.
Yes.
Might be, a certain segment there. But I also wanted to ask, and maybe you mentioned it and I missed it. I know you mentioned some local. Do you do only national, or do you dive into some local issues?
Mainly national. I've been toying with the idea of making local a subscription benefit. I thought about doing a big Missouri issue because we just ended our legislative session and we had some big things kind of go through. So I thought, what do you guys think about that? Like having your local issue be the subscription bonus?
I think that would be good quality content.
Okay, I do have subscribers in quite a few other states, so I try to stick to national, but my focus is to give the Midwest a voice, because I think that's what has also contributed to the environment we're in right now, is the Midwest not feeling like they align with the coasts, and so I do want to keep it a Midwest-based newsletter.
Do you know what your age of readers is, like, from subscribing?
I don't know exactly. I do, but it's very, very spread out at this point because I don't have a large amount of subscribers, so it's very, very spread out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I know Instagram is more younger,
Yes.
but then I mean, Facebook is the broadest, I would say, but
I get a lot more engagement on Facebook, but I'm most familiar with Instagram just coming from a visual background. That's obviously kind of our bread and butter.
So what is your target market? Do you have one? And also, have you thought, what technology resources do you have supporting you, or do you have people that can do some of that for you, or are you doing it all on your own?
I'm doing it all on my own right now. I would love to have people that have more, especially graphic design or these videos, knowledge in that way. My target demographic is really, it doesn't really have an age necessarily, and I know that's kind of a bad answer for business, but I really want to capture the people that have become checked out. They don't read the news anymore. They don't watch the news anymore, which I hear a ton from my friends. And I'm 36, so mid-30s to mid-40s are my friends. They're usually, they have children, and they're just like, the news is so negative. I don't know what to believe. I don't have a source that I can trust. And so this is where they go to get the meat and potatoes of the issue.
I love the business concept.
Thanks.
I'm hearing it, it's really great.
Thanks.
And I especially like the idea of putting it back on your subscribers, that are you informed? Who are your local leadership? Because that is critically important as we talk about community leadership and growing our community. So I don't know if that's more just positive feedback.
Thank you. I'll take all the positive feedback I can get. No, thank you so much. And that's really my goal, is to empower people to make decisions on their own. I'm not trying to tell anyone how to think. I'm just giving them the information they need so they can make their own choices. Yeah.
Do you plan on turning this into your primary business? And if so, how can you monetize it, and talk about subscriptions? Is there other ways to monetize it?
So some ideas that have been thrown out to me, and again, I'm just trying to keep all these in mind and see where I want to go with it. But some people have suggested and asked me to make infographics for their company or for, their project. So outsourcing some of that. My question mark on that is if I want to dilute my branding by making this a style that you see more places than just the civilian. I don't know, that's a question I have. But yeah, that's a good idea to make some more money. But I would love to have it. I would love these speaking opportunities. I think that that's a great way to make money. I think it's a long road to get there, but I would love to be traveling around nationally and speaking at some point.
I don't know how you could target this, but I see this, you could fill a tremendous void in this country right now that's only increasing due to the number of small town newspapers that are totally disappearing.
Yes.
Because there's a direct correlation between that population and how they vote.
Yes.
And I won't say anymore.
Well, no, it's true. And our last issue was actually on media bias. And I suggested to find, my challenge was to find a news organization that's on the right and one on the left and one in the middle, but also to find your most local news source, because local news will more accurately reflect what's going on in your community. And I think that that's really important. But all these newspapers are going away. It's really, really frustrating and hard. So thank you for that.
NPR has recently done a segment on that. It was really eye-opening.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's interesting.
If you're on Twitter, I'm imagining that beyond your post, you're having a lot of discussion between your followers and things. Do you have anywhere to take them off of Twitter, like a forum where it's the same kind of rules? That may be a way as well. I see a lot with people that are successful with Patreons and those types of things. They have several dedicated followers that have been with them for a long time that are perhaps moderators on forums or different things that basically when you're not able to advertise, they're advertising and speaking positively for you, and they typically do it for free if they follow your same standards. And feel passionate about what you do.
That's a great idea. That's fantastic. And that might be another subscription bonus, is that you get access to the forum where we can discuss all these issues. I think that's a great
I'd love to
idea.
have a place that you could go that, isn't just full of
A dumpster fire? Yeah, exactly. That's a great idea. I love that.
Okay, well, if nobody has any other questions, my last question for you is, what can we as a community do for you?
Please, just if you are interested in this at all, if you could subscribe and share it, and just reach out to me with any other ideas or suggestions you have. I'm really lucky because the followers and subscribers I do have, they have no problem emailing me and talking to me and asking questions, and I love that. So thank you so much for having me, and I would love to hear from you in the future.